Three, two, one. What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. Tonight, I have a very special guest. The homie Maxy is in the building. How you doing, Maxy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Want to thank you again for coming on. Thank you for your time and your interest in sharing your story. I definitely appreciate it, man.
I'm pleased to be here. I appreciate the invite and looking forward to getting into this convo with you.
For sure, man, for sure. For the folks out there who don't know the format of the show, we do some intro warm-up questions just to set the tone of the conversation. And then I do have some icebreakers thrown in there just so you can, ease up a little bit if you're feeling nervous. And then we jump into the main portion of the interview where you choose a number between 1 and 34. Sound good to you, Maxy?
That sounds great.
All right, man. So my very first question for you is, how have you been? I know we kind of talked about this the last time I seen you, but just for the folks out there, this has been a crazy year. You've been doing well. You've been going through it. How you been, man?
Okay, where should I start? So for me, things have been good, but also a lot of mishaps also along the road. And in general with life, we're gonna have to go through that. It's just everyone has different situations, very circumstantial situations where we find ourselves dwelling into those things. Myself, I can attest to that, and just figuring out how I can cope with it. Because usually for me, I am a reactive person. So anything that I have no control over, I have a natural, reaction to that. And because of that, I'm not being proactive with my emotions. And I just dwell into that. And then, just trying to fight those battles for myself and find ways that I can still process those emotions, but in a way where it doesn't get in the way of things I need to do throughout the day. And then there's a period of time where I found myself really dwelling into my emotions to the point where I'm not getting things done, the things that I need to do, my priorities, such as, getting work done for school, or something as simple as doing your laundry or cleaning your room. And you'd be surprised on how much it takes away, and it's all because of these emotions that take over. And it's just something that I have to learn through experience and learning to be more proactive with my emotions, to where I can push out things I need to do throughout the day. And then at night, that's when I have the free time to process those emotions. And then, from there, things were getting better, really taking care of myself more, and just really thinking about self-care. And I think that's very important, really just thinking about yourself. And don't ever think of it as being selfish. If anything, that's really a way for you to really take care of yourself and, know what you want and go for those things. So I'm doing a lot better. Now I know that was kind of like a long answer, but I really like to dive into those things. I like to be very specific. I'm a very specific type of person where I like to really get into those details. So
that's excellent, man. That's excellent. Just don't feel like you have to stop yourself from talking. There's no time limit to any of these questions. It's just how the conversation rolls. So if there's anything that you feel like you want to add, or throw it in there. I'm here to listen. So that's don't even worry. This might be, you started off, like you said already, into answering questions. This might be a little too personal, but if you down for it, my question is, would you say you're in control of your emotions, or do they get the best of you?
That was a very good question. It really depends on how I feel initially when I wake up. Sometimes I wake up feeling really good, and then that kind of carries over throughout the day. Carrying that energy over, that positive energy, and then projecting it to where I can see myself being more productive throughout the day. Now, there are certain days where, you know, I'm in like in the middle of my, you know, like doing errands or just getting things done, and then there's a certain memory that that resurfaces in my mind, to where like I, you know, revisit those mistakes, and it's like, damn, you know, and then and then those feelings kind of flow back in, and then it's, you know, it's kind of hard to control sometimes, because, you know, like, it's like, I don't want to downplay my feelings, you know, I don't want to downplay those emotions. And at the same time, like, I know if I let it take over, then I'm not gonna get things done. So I had to like hold off and, you know, just wait until I had the time and have all the things I need to do done. So that way, it doesn't get in the way of, you know, things I need to prioritize myself doing. And yeah, man, like, I do find myself like kind of like having those moments where I'm in this pocket where like I'm feeling that emotion, and then I jump out of it because I have to like realize that, okay, like, this is what I'm feeling. I need to hold on to that and save it for later, and then I had to continue throughout the day. So yeah, it's a constant battle, man. I think even though like I do better and better each day, there's still going to be that, you know, that memory that resurfaces, and it is also those memories that help you not get back into those mistakes or those habits that led you to that feeling. And for some of us, you know, it may take a little longer for us to really realize, and subconsciously, if we're given the chance to, you know, or we're given the chance to redeem ourselves like numerous times, then I think that's when like you feel the sense of like, oh, like subconsciously think is like, oh, I'm just gonna get another chance. I'm just gonna get another chance. And because of that, it just compromises change. And I think that's the loop that I fell into, in just in a situation that I found myself in. I don't want to get too specific with that; it's very personal, but I will share that much in that sense. So I think just through that, separating myself from that has helped me focus on myself and what I need to work on, and really learning from that. And yeah.
No, yeah, for sure, man. Thank you for sharing. I found a few things that you said relatable, as far as getting into that spiral. Like, I think I do a pretty good job keeping a positive outlook on life, but there are times, oh yeah, like when it feels like a hurricane or a tornado, where you get swept up in some kind of emotion that brings you back to mistakes and regrets, and kind of like, you know, at least for me, it's always like, man, what could I done different? What could I've you know, been better at? And some I don't know. I think right now I'm kind of realizing what those triggers are, and that kind of take me back to that place of I don't know. For me, if a time when I was lost, you know, and I think I'm still a little lost now, but now I feel like it's a good kind of wandering, a good kind of lost. But yeah, I definitely can relate to that. And then there was this one other thing, man, that you said, but it's a fleeting question in my mind. If I think about it again, I'll bring it up. But yeah, my bad.
No, you're good.
Let's jump into some icebreakers real quick. That was just the first question, man, or that was just how have you been? So I think you getting the tone of the conversation now.
Sick, yeah.
All right. So first icebreaker is a one-word spelling bee. Feel free to participate. Feel free to pass. But are you down?
I'm down. I mean, I might flop. You know, for me, it just takes a little time to process sometimes. But you know, that's that's just me. We'll get through it. Let's get it.
Yeah, I got you, man. No pressure. Nothing happens if you get it wrong. If you do get it right, though, you get a chance to flip any question back to me. As far as like whichever one I throw at you, you feel free to be like, nah, you got to answer this one.
Right.
Your word is gonna be daiquiri, like the drink.
Daiquiri?
Yeah, like the drink.
Okay. DACKERY.
You got one more chance, man. You got one more chance.
Daiquiri. Huh. I feel like there's a letter I'm missing. Daiquiri.
I'll tell you this. It kind of. It's a hard one. I'll be honest with you. So it's super hard. But go for it. I'll give you a clue. Since it's so hard. There's a Q instead of a CK. Yeah. So.
I got you. DAQERY.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's all good.
The correct spelling was DAIQUIRI. Like I would have never known if I don't drink a lot of daiquiris, so it's always a trip when I see it spelled out.
Same here. I don't drink that either.
I feel you. And then the second icebreaker is a riddle challenge. Are you?
Bring it on.
All right.
Oh man.
Here we go. Tell me if you see the timer on your end on your screen. There should be a timer that pops up.
Yes.
All right. So after I say the riddle, I'll pop the timer up.
Got it.
It is: what comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?
Oh man, let's see.
What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?
Once in a minute, twice in a moment, and never in 1,000 years.
It's a good one.
I feel like this is one of those like easy ass like simple questions or like riddles, but it's just still like kind of hard to like comprehend.
The way it's phrased makes it sound so philosophical, but it's very simple.
Dang, it's one of those. Okay, it's all good. Shoot. Wait a minute. What happens in a minute?
Once in a minute, twice in a moment.
Never in 1,000 years. All right, man. I'm gonna throw in the towel for this one. Go ahead.
It is the letter M. It's in a minute one time, and then it's in 2 times and twice, or in a moment. But yeah. Feel free to use that one, man. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool.
For sure. Well, thank you for participating. I hope that was a little fun for you. And now you could use them. You can use them with people.
Honestly, I'm not really good at riddles, but I think that's a good way to really just challenge my brain a little bit. But yeah, I do nonetheless love riddles too. Like try to solve.
Yeah, they're just like we're all problem solvers, so we like to try to figure it out. Continuing with the warm up. Oh, my bad. Were you gonna say something? Or?
Oh no, go ahead. You're good.
Continuing the warm up. What would you like people to know about you, the audience?
Okay, so currently I am working at a children's fitness center. I help kids with their physical development, physical and cognitive development. Starting with ages from 7 months to 6 years old. I also a dance instructor at On One Studios. I teach every Saturdays from 10:30 to 11:45. And then I love to be as active as possible. I play basketball as well, so there's that. And yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty laid back dude. You know, I like to talk. And then, you know, if I do talk a lot, I don't mean it in a way where I'm being conceited. I just like to talk. So, and I like to have a conversation with you. So, yeah, you know, if you ever want to talk, well, hit me up.
For sure, man. For sure. I didn't know you work with the youth like that. You know, helping kids with their fitness. I think, wow, I wish I had somebody like that when I was a kid. I guess that's what a PE teacher should have been, which, you know, granted they are very limited with their time and resources, but that's cool that you do that, man. You find, like, you don't have to talk about any particular kid, but do you find kids pretty motivated and driven to, like, you know, to keep up with their fitness?
I see it in some kids, and for others, you know, they're still really young to even comprehend what fitness is, and it's just a matter of having them repeatedly doing it to the point where, like, okay, you know, I am, you know, building these muscles without knowing what I'm actually doing. But as they get older, they develop, you know, their cognitive skills to, like, have that conscious to know that they're working on these things, and then that's when they build that conscious to where they want to feel that motivation to continue to develop their physical, you know, physical development, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I just asked because I think when I was a kid, I had no comprehension about that. I was like, you know, and I was a big kid, man, like a little overweight, a little husky. That's what we call them. But yeah, I was husky and I felt strong, and nobody was really bullying me. So I never really thought like, oh, I needed to get any fitter than I was at the time until I got way older, and I'm like, oh, I kind of let myself go, and without even realizing it, because I was just a kid thinking, you know, that's what kids do. So yeah, that's interesting, man. I'll definitely ask you more about that another time.
I'm down.
All right. And then my second question is, if someone were to pay you a tribute, how would you like to be honored? You know, if I was going to tell myself, you know, today I'm going to do something in honor of Maxy, what act could I do?
I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is dance.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that really is a representation of who I am. You know, among other things, you know, and I just really love to dance. It's a way for me to express. So, like, I can just really apply all these lessons from dance to life as well, and I think that's really great. And it's not just with dance too. You know, just with life in general, like anything, like where like we have our identities, but we're not labeled to where we're like we're fluent. Like one day, you know, we're like working as a teacher, and when you're at home, you're Jan, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like that's you when you're home, but when you're out, you know, in your work, you know, you're on your grind, you're a totally different person. There's a different personas that we fill in our identities, which is why we can't really label. It's just what you project. And that's how people label us as. So, but for me, dance, yes, definitely dance.
For sure. I got you. I will dance in your honor for sure. You talked about different personas and how people project them at different times, maybe, you know, different situations. I'm the kind of person where it's my dream to just be, I don't know, like, I can't say which persona it is. I feel like I just have one that I, you know, select, or like code switching and all that stuff. I don't want to code switch, but I feel like it's a necessity to communicate with different groups of people, you know. Right. Like one group of people wouldn't really like listen to what I'm saying if it wasn't proper, versus another group of people probably wouldn't listen to what I'm saying if it was very proper. You know, it's like, oh, this guy, you know, that isn't relatable to us. So it's really hard to, at least for me, like, try to be who I am all the time. And I think I don't know. What do you think will allow people to do that? You know?
Oh, to do just be themselves all the time?
Yeah, like where we didn't have to choose different personas, or we didn't have to code switch. What can allow a person to get out of that? If you think there is a way.
I feel like regarding just, you know, being yourself, like no matter what you do, like whether it's like you're at work, you know, there's still an essence of yourself, you know, at the end of the day, because that's your source. You know, this is where you pull from. This is you. This is who you are. So there's really never a loss in who you are. Like you're still internalizing that as you're doing other things, like, you know, as a teacher or as a barber. It's just always constantly reminding yourself that you're still you, you're still who you are, and you can still be yourself. You can still share a bit of yourself, even at work or in any profession that you do. And I think a really big thing about it too is confidence, is really just like feeling a sense of like, this is who I am, I'm confident in, and like this is what I want, and I know what I want. And if anyone has a problem, you know, with just because I'm being myself, then it's not on me, it's on them. And that's just something I've learned. And before, and this is something maybe people has gone through or can attest to, is if, you know, if someone has a problem with, you know, just with you, just because you're being yourself, and it, like, you know, I'm not gonna lie, it does get to us sometimes, because, you know, like, why are they, you know, hating? Just like straight hating, you know, like just like, why are they hating on like who I am? And at the same time, like, we just got to realize that that's just one person, you know, and maybe you'll come across others that maybe they're not vibing well with, you know, who you are, and that's totally fine. You know, again, that's their problem, it's not your problem. You're being yourself, and, you know, that's as authentic and as organic you can be with it. So I think just really staying true to yourself no matter where you're at. Yeah, it's like, again, like, these are labels, but then your soul is like, you know, it stays with you. It's always with you the whole time. So that's just, you know, it's always there. You know, I don't think that's really something anyone will struggle with. I feel like the only time I can see it struggle with is, I see it a lot, is like relationships. Like, you know, sometimes when you're in relationships, you kind of lose a sense of yourself. You kind of lose yourself in a relationship, and you kind of forget who you are. I can attest to that. That's something I experienced too. And that just goes with the whole, like, you know, having that separation and really focusing on yourself and finding yourself again, which is why, just going back to when you're saying you feel like it's kind of good that you feel lost, because sometimes we'll get lost, and it's just a matter of us walking back, re-navigating yourself back into that path to who we actually are, and continue to do that as the best to our ability as humanly possible. So
yeah, man, for sure. Thank you for your perspective. And then the last question in the warm-up is, on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
8.
8.
8.
Well, why an 8, if you don't mind?
Yeah. I'd say an 8 because there's still things I'm learning about myself. Because growing up, I guess my mom. No hating my mom. I love her so. I love her like from the bottom of my heart, and, you know, I still do. Like, just, you know, always love her. I think when I was a kid, though, it was very toxic in terms of how I was being raised. I guess, like, when we're getting like scolded, and like, I understand, you know, like the anger and, like, you know, the things that we do that upset our mom. But then I guess the way she reacted to it was in a way where I felt very doubtful, and I doubted myself a lot, and things that I do and think. And it's just things like, oh, like you can't do anything right, you can't just do this thing right. And you know, like when you're constantly hearing that, it's instilled in your mind. And even though you don't want to think that, it's like you're I would subconsciously think like, oh, like am I even capable of doing this, or even capable of doing that? And just really having a grasp of like who I am, and like what do I know about myself. And that's why I'm like, so to speak, recovering. I don't know recovery is the right word, but this is why I say 8. I'm still figuring things that out, building that confidence, building things that I've never learned about myself, and then grasping that and then projecting that.
I got you. Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing about, I feel like who has like a simple relationship with their parents, you know? I feel like that's a very complex relationship that we have, and some of us, you know, are unfortunate to never have that, you know? So when it comes to, you know, like viewing our parents and how they kind of raised us, I feel you. I don't think my folks were perfect at the time either, but I do believe they were doing the best they could. You know,
right?
There's still people who are still trying to figure out life for themselves, as we
right.
are, and that's a crazy thing. And you know, just hopefully that experience will like just let you be aware of what to look out for whenever you're raising, you know, children. And it's like, okay, well, I remember how that made me feel, so maybe steer away from it. A big thing for me growing up, man, was comparisons. Yeah, it's fucking brutal. And I think that still kind of is with me to this day. Like, I can see how that could be a trigger for myself. You know, we were talking about triggers and spiraling out. Right. If someone's like, it's like, oh, don't you know that this person's doing this? And I'm like, you know, like, why'd you have to bring that up? You know, right. Obviously I'm not at that same level, I'm not doing the same thing, and it just kind of sucks to hear. Which, granted, like we were talking about, you know, however somebody feels about what you said or who you are, it's more probably an issue with them than it is about you, and that's just an issue with me, you know. It's just like, I hear that and I get triggered, and I'm like, oh man, I'm feeling bad, and trying to take control of my emotions before it drags me down. Right. But yeah, no doubt, man. And somebody told me that there should be nobody that gets a 10 when it comes to this question, because the one thing we'll never know is how other people see us. And that's a big part of, you know, how well we know ourselves, but that's just one part that we'll never know, because it's how right. other people's perception. And yeah, man, what would you say is your favorite part of your personality?
For me, I feel like I'm really open, and I think that can mean a lot of different things. You know, I could dive into a few things, like open in terms of, you know, like what we talk about. If I'm talking to someone, like I'm open to, like, you know, talk about anything, and it's just a matter of like how we can like continue the conversation, because sometimes, you know, there's only so much I could be open about, but generally I'm very open on those type of things. And I'm also very open on things like, oh, like if you want to do this, like, oh, I don't do that, but I'm down to do it, I'm down to try it, just try new things. Yeah, so in that sense, yes, I'm a very, very open person.
Do you think that's something that, or you think you've been open your whole life, or that was something that kind of came to you as an epiphany or a revelation where you're like, I need to be open more? Yeah, what was that like for you?
Yeah, so yeah, you know, on the contrary, I was having issues being open to others. I think a lot of that came from just being shy during high school, and, you know, just again, like just going through that, you know, trauma where I'm being doubted for my ability to do, you know, simple things, to the point where, like, if I know the answer to something and I know it's the right answer, but I don't speak up because there's that, you know, hold me back. Like, it's like kind of like that voice in my head, like, what if I'm wrong? Or like if I want to try to be open, but again, I'm just creating scenarios in my head, and it kind of puts me in this situation where I want to be in control of the situation. But, you know, again, that's kind of like bad because, you know, I can't control every situation. You know, I can't do that. So I think in that sense, yeah, like I wasn't always open until I joined a dance club back in high school. And this dance club is called Fantastics. And that's when it helped me feel more open towards others, because that's the environment that club facilitated. Is to, you know, they're welcoming, they're talking to me, and, you know, it kind of gave me that eye opener that like this is great. You know, this is great. I can like feel comfortable here, and I can feel like I can be open, and like that feeling of like I felt validated and accepted in that group. That's when like I started being more open, and I want people to feel that same feeling I felt when I joined that club. So yeah, that's my story on that.
For sure, man, for sure. Thank you for sharing. Let's jump into the main portion of the interview, where you choose a question, or you choose a number between 1 and 34. Would you like to start easy, medium, or hard? There are 3 levels.
Let's see. Let's start with something hard.
All right, man. Jumping into the deep end. All right,
let's do number 29.
29. Do you believe in yourself?
Do I believe in myself? Let's see. The fact that I'm pausing.
Hey man, I get it. Go for it.
Yeah. It's hard because it's very controversial in terms of like, because there's days where I feel like I can believe myself, like that I can do this, but then like there's other days where I find myself like, damn, like can I really do this? And it's just this constant fluctuation between believing myself and not believing myself. So like I don't have an accurate answer to that. I can't say no, but I can't say yes either. It's kind of in the middle, and then like just in between these two spectrums. And then like, but if you were to ask, like, I guess more specifically, if like whether what side am I more on, is I feel more on the side that I believe in myself. And I believe that I will accomplish what I set myself to do, because I know I'm capable of doing those things, and just thriving through life, and knowing that I still can trip and fall and struggle. And those are the moments where I don't believe in myself. But then again, like bringing myself back up and then reminding myself that I can do this, and believe in myself, and getting the things that I want and working hard for it.
For sure, man. For sure. Thank you for sharing. I do want to like kind of put my 2 cents in there. So for myself, do I believe in myself? I at this point in my life, I feel like I have this irrational belief in myself to where I feel like I'm not realistic sometimes, so I think there's a negative side to it, where I'm quick to make choices based on my belief in that I will figure it out, like, oh, that might not be the greatest decision, but I'll make it, and then whatever it goes through, I'm gonna find a way to come better out of it. Which I don't know, man. You ask my family and friends, they'll probably be like, yeah, he's pretty crazy like that. And I you just made me wonder if it's because when I was a kid, like I had low confidence and low self-esteem, and so I don't know if I'm overcompensating for it now that I'm older and have a better grip on who I am and what I'm trying to do. So maybe, I'm not entirely sure. And yeah, man, I mean, so I think the biggest thing for me about believing in myself, so you said something controversial. I think what I think is also controversial in the sense that I don't think I'm that important in the grand scheme of things. Like, that's just something where I don't think that means that I don't believe in myself. It's just that I believe in the fact that, you know, I'm just one little piece to this big ass puzzle, and that, like, yeah, in that sense, it's like, I don't believe in myself, and those are the two kind of things where I try to balance it out, like feeling that I'm a very small piece of the big puzzle, but I still believe I'm an important piece to that puzzle. And yeah, so I don't know if that makes sense, but that's a new thing that I've kind of came across through this conversation. So I appreciate bringing that up. That's a new one for me.
Yeah, I think dude, it's totally relatable, like just what you're going through, like with that, and thank you for sharing with that as well. You know, I just going off of like the puzzle piece, you know, I think we could all say that we are a piece to a puzzle, and I think that's why, you know, like we're in this world together, we all coexist, we all, you know, as one, as a unit. I think we create something, you know, great, and I think that's what I took from your puzzle concept.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, man, I'm a big believer in everybody has a role, and like, if you're good at something and you enjoy doing that thing, I would hope that, you know, there could be a place for you out in the world where you can do that and be happy. I've had 13 jobs in 10 years or so, and I think there's a lot of people who are stuck in places where their gifts aren't being utilized, and, you know, they're not maximizing their joy, which is unfortunate. But I also think there are people who have found their place and enjoy what they do and continue to do it. That's another crazy part of our journey in life is finding those places where we feel like we belong, sort of, you know.
Right.
Go ahead and throw me another number, man.
I got you, bro. Let's do 6.
So, what can bring tears to your eyes? Feel free to pass if it's a little too heavy, but
tears. Yeah, this all goes back to memories resurfacing in my head, and it's just a lot of what I feel is remorse. That's the one emotion that I always have resurfaced back in my head, and just really thinking about those mistakes that I made and like how bad I actually feel. And it's just unfortunate that I'm unable to show that genuine, like that feeling of like expressing that remorse, feeling that remorse. And that I think for me, when I tear up, and that's just how I express, this is how I cope, because, you know, this is I feel really bad, and I don't know any other way to express that other than, you know, showing, like, you know, I get teary-eyed, and this is how I express. As well, for me, what will get me to have tears is, you know, I think when it comes to family, you know, when someone's feeling sick, or like, you know, they're not doing so well and they're at risk of like their lives, you know, that really puts me in that position of like sorrow, because, you know, you don't want to lose them. They've been around your life for a long time. You spent time with them, and then for that to happen to them, I think that will really bring me down to it.
For sure, man. Well, is there anything that can bring positive tears to your eyes, or as far as like maybe being proud, or anything that can bring positive tears?
Right. I feel that if there's someone I like really love, like that like someone that I've hurt, in the past, again, they just go back on the mistakes and feeling that remorse, and just revisiting that. And again, like, finding myself to forgive and like learn. And like if I see that person thrive, like in their lives and they're happy, and like that brings tears to my eyes, because it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's a very complex concept. Maybe not, maybe I'm just overthinking it. I am an overthinker, by the way, too. But it's just like that feeling like you've hurt them, and then you regret it. But then like when you see them thrive and they're happy, it just brings tears to my eyes, because it's like I'm so glad that they found a place where they can be happy. If or like part of this as it was before, I think that really brings tears to my eyes, because it's like I'm happy that you're doing well, and I hope that someday we can like see each other again, or like reconnect.
Yeah, man, I feel you. I'm trying to think if there's anything positive that can bring tears to my eyes. I can't off the top of my head. I know I've probably laughed to the point of crying.
Right.
There's been a couple of times for sure. But yeah, for sure, man. I'm about to throw you a curveball right now, which is it's a fill in the blank, and yours is life is all about blank.
Life is all about love. Yes.
How'd you come to that conclusion? What is so important about love?
I think with love, like if we can really just like, I think initially what I think is unconditional love, right? So I think just, I guess in a nutshell, like with that, like no matter who that person is, you accept them for who they are. Like no matter the mistakes, and all like external, internal factors about themselves, like you still love them no matter what. And I think that really brings out the best in people. And if we can spread that around and really show that unconditional love to people, to the point where again, like they can really bring out the best of themselves, I think that can really make the world a better place.
For sure. For yourself, how do you show love?
How do I show love?
Yeah.
I feel that for me, how I show love is, I think, just expressing like how appreciative I am of them, how grateful I am for to them and what they've done, and just letting them know like the qualities and what I like about them, and then like also I like quality time too, so spending time with them and like making them feel that their presence and time is special, and making them feel as loved as possible. So I think that's how I show love.
For sure, man. And you might already know, but you know love languages, and you know what yours are?
Yes. So for me, I know there's a primary and there's a secondary. I don't know if you look into that, but for me, my primary is physical touch and quality time. Yes. So I brought up quality time because I think I feel like that's, even though physical touch is my first, and of course like I show love by like physically like hugging and stuff like that. But I think I find myself to explain it more simple, more easier if I were to talk about quality time, because I think that's how I show love. That's more expressively.
I got you. So you always give the daps.
Yeah.
Always. I feel you. I feel you, man. I mean, the thing about the love languages too, at least for myself, I had thought it was one thing, but now I feel like, I don't know if it's changing for me or whatnot, but yeah, like I have to really think about and reflect on it, because I don't think I could even answer that question for myself. So, all right.
Okay.
Let's jump back into some numbers, man. Go
Let's
ahead.
go.
Throw me another one.
Let's do number 2.
This was a little heavy, but what is something that you're insecure about?
Insecure. Wow. Oh yes, this is a very big insecure for me, and it really and I guess the way I talk is how it projects into that insecurity. Sorry, let me just shoot the answer. Yeah, so my biggest insecurity is like my intellect. I think in just things I know, and again, it just goes all back into my childhood, and even people I come across, and like I just feel like I'm not educated, or that I knowingly should know, and then I don't know, and then like it just puts me in that position, like do I have what it takes to even have an intellect, or to even develop it, and then like it's just something as simple as articulating my sentences, and that's just something I'm working towards and working on, and then also things like constant things from people to where like why don't you know that, like you should know that, like and it's kind of an ignorant approach, kind of like it sounds condescending, very condescending, and in that sense, like I get it, like this is what you know, and you find it unexpected that someone else doesn't know and that they should know, and at the same time, based on people's experience, maybe they haven't come across that knowledge, and resources, and that's just what I've experienced. I don't think I've experienced those resources or experience, or like knowledge to where I can like retain that and then like carry that with me, growing up. So I think my intellect is my biggest insecurity.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, very, very relatable as well. Well, first off, I want to ask you, have I ever told you about the 9 types of geniuses?
I don't believe so.
I will share that with you. It was something that I came across when I was working with high schoolers, and in high school, all we're really based on is our book smarts and maybe athletic things or whatever, right? But there's 9 types of geniuses. There's some philosopher or theorist had this study, or not study, but had a theory on how everyone is a genius in one of these categories. It's just that we don't recognize or we don't celebrate each one. So it kind of sucks because we got a bunch of people we're telling, oh, you're not as smart as me, when really you're just smart in something else, or like something else comes naturally to you than it would for me. But yeah, so we got that system where we kind of like we talked about comparing and trying to be the best instead of really trying to find out what kids are naturally good at and trying to foster those gifts and interests that comes out of it. So yeah, I'll definitely share that with you, and I believe you will find something on there that you feel like it comes more naturally to you than most people. And yeah, and then you there are other people like you out there as well. It's just for some reason we're not aware of it right away,
Right.
So I'll share that with you. Intellect and insecurities about intellect. I feel like I'm coming up to that point for myself, or maybe I've been there for a while now and I just didn't want to face it. One of those things that I was running away from. But you know, I was always told that I was a good student, you know, and I was doing the right things growing up. So like, yeah, I was one of those kids, man. And then I went to college and was not the same student, was not the same person, and like I really let go of a lot of things. I think maybe because I thought I knew it all, and then as I got older, it's like, damn, I don't know shit. So I mean, I think that's a familiar feeling where, and I also think it's the right way to think, that we don't know everything. For everybody out there who feels like they know everything, I think you're just setting yourself up for more disappointment and kind of like, you know, not. What I'm trying to say is just be open to learning,
Right.
and that's all you can do, man. And I think you'll definitely pick up the things that people say like that. I don't think it's on purpose. I want to believe it's not on purpose. You know, I want to believe that people aren't, you know, saying those stingers because they can sense a weakness and trying to exploit it. So yeah, man. I mean, for me, if people do that to me, man, I usually just be like, well, that's just something they said. That's all. And like, I try not to dwell on it as much more, but I know it can be hard. I know it sticks a little bit because it is on our minds, and you know, we kind of think about it. But yeah, give me 1 second. Got a text. Donita's calling me. Yeah. But yeah, man. Any thoughts on that, or feel free to throw another number if you'd like.
Yeah, maybe I'll dive a little more into that. I think, you know, like, it just goes back to people who are ignorant. And again, like it's like you mentioned, like, it's not on purpose. It's just something that they feel that everyone should know. And like, again, like, it's just setting themselves for disappointment. When really, you know, you should still be open. Like, you know, maybe that person hasn't experienced what you experience or the resources that they have. You know, maybe you have parents who are like, you know, are very smart in a certain field, and you know, pick up on those. You inherited those things, you know, growing up, because, you know, you surround yourself with, you know, your parents. And, you know, and like, it just goes into like who you surround yourself with. And like, you know, it's said that, you know, when you're around people for so long, you kind of like embodying what they are. And that's how you develop those type of things from people.
Yeah, man, I feel that. Just a heads up, man, we got about 10 minutes left in the podcast.
All right.
Want to thank you again for coming on. I hope you're having fun, because it's been a great conversation for me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is great, man. I really love this. You know, this platform, like, just how you're facilitating, like, you know, people to or facilitating like an environment where people can feel comfortable to express and share what they would like to share. You know, regarding what question that is. Maybe sometimes it's a little too personal, but, you know, I think everything you're throwing at me, I feel okay to like express, because, you know, this is what I want to share. And it's not anything to where I'm bringing attention to myself. This is just something I want to express and just share. So yeah, and then you know, if we're ready to move on, I got you another number.
Yeah, man. Actually, we made it to the concluding portion, but go ahead, throw me another number. Let's squeeze one in there.
And this time we'll keep it a little short. I got you, man. We got number 13.
It's another heavy one, man. But
damn, the heavy ones.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, man. Throw it at me.
How have you disappointed yourself?
How? Let's see. How I've disappointed myself is things that I've known about someone. Like, I've known certain things about this person, like what they don't like how they are. and like, you know, what their pet peeves, like all those type of things. And for me, like the fact that I've done something that this person didn't like and I still did it anyways, you know, like I found myself really disappointed, because it's like it put them in that position where like damn, it's been this long and he still doesn't like acknowledge that this is what I don't like, you know. And then like that I you know, I felt really disappointed, because it's like, dang, like I knew this thing, like why did I still do it? And it all goes back to doubting myself, like, because like things could be different, like, you know, like I know things could be different over time, but I think like with that specific thing that I've done, that's something that, you know, like that just sticks to them. And like I had to, you know, I had to keep that in mind, but I didn't. And, you know, I found myself in disappointment, like, man, like this is, you know, like what am I doing? You know, like you kind of like, I kind of asked myself that question, to where like, you know, that this is not what this person likes and you still did it. And it's like, I know this person, I know what they like, I know what they don't like, I know what triggers them, all these type of things, and yet I still do that. Did those things, did those things. And like that's where I found myself in disappointment.
I got you, man. I definitely understand that for sure. Yeah, and I mean, it's tough, man, because we sometimes get wrapped up in our own story, in our own life, and we act or make choices based on something that we're acting out in our life, and we forget about the lives of how it affects other people's lives sometimes. But just to feel that, man, I think it takes a lot of awareness to be disappointed in that fact about yourself. Is like, you know, you're already one step closer to overcoming something like that, you know, versus everybody else who kind of just brushes it off like, what's their problem, you know? Yeah. So don't feel too bad about that. And I can see that, you know, you care about working on it. So I don't have any doubt that you'll get better at it. All right, man. Well, we made it to the concluding portion. Got a few closeout questions for you. This next one is from my previous guest. Shout out to Ethan. His question for you is, you could either go negative or positive. It's up to you. But what has been your greatest failure or success?
Let's see. My greatest success, I would say this is during high school. I was doing really poorly in class. My grades were not so well. I wasn't turning in homework. This is my senior year, and you know, like I was, I think I was in the brink of not graduating, and you know, at that point, I had to ask myself, like, you know, what can I do to raise myself up and bring those grades up, or at least get something decent to where I can graduate. And you know, I understand that, you know, high school is just the beginning. You know, there's still college and so much more. But to me, personally, through experience, like being able to rise back up and being able to graduate, I think that feeling was a really big success for me, because it's like I still overcame like those battles, even though like it felt like that I couldn't do it. And then, you know, and I couldn't have done it without my family. They believed in me, and they knew I can do it. And it's just a matter of me believing in myself to do it as well. And just from that point to here, like just being able to graduate, that's something I really can look back and say that that's one of my greatest success in my life.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And there was a second follow-up to that. And what's been the latest like small win for yourself? Like something where you're like, maybe you didn't tell a bunch of folks, but anything you're willing to share, we're like, yeah, that was a win for me, no matter how small. It could have been like getting up at a certain time this morning or anything like that. What's
So as I mentioned before, I do teach weekly classes on Saturdays at On1 Studios, and there's a class where I felt like I was articulating my words very clearly to the students, and I felt really good about it, and I felt confident, and then it really brought myself to the point where I can, conduct a class to the point where I can project that for every class I teach moving forward, and I can just bring that to the table. Because once I felt that feeling, and I want to feel that for every class I teach, and then understanding that there are going to be days where I will fall, but doing as much as I can as possible to bring that feeling back. That's that particular day, like feeling that I can help the students comprehend, and then working on my timing too for class. That's a small win for me.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And it's cool that you put yourself in situations where you can kind of work on your insecurities, right? Like I think that's very commendable. Some people run away from those moments, but it's cool to see you kind of embrace them. And then the next question is, what would you like to ask the next person that comes down to 34 questions? You can go light or heavy. It's up to you.
Let's see. Okay. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I gotcha. All right. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I'm curious what the next person is going to say. And then my final question for you, the question that ties everything together, is what would you like your descendants to know about you 500 years from now? I'd like to think of it as they'll be in a place where they're trying to figure out who they are, and they're trying to understand who their ancestors are to get a better idea of who they're going to become. What would you like them to know about you?
So if my descendants were watching this 500 years from now, of course, I would like them to know how open I am as a person, and how much I persevere through the struggles I've been through. Also, I do believe I am a hard worker as well, and then just really put in the grind and things I want and enjoy doing. And yeah, I'm also a pretty comical person too. I like take things a lot, like very literally. I like to joke around, and don't get me wrong. I am still able to be serious when the time calls for it. But yes, I do love to joke around a lot. Very comical. Comically speaking. Yes. Yes.
For sure, man. Any last things you want to add before we head out of here?
Yes. Okay. One thing. Always keep a positive story about yourself, because that will take you far. Vice versa. If you think negatively about yourself, then you put yourself in that position to feel that, a way about yourself. And I'll leave you with that.
Yeah, man, I think that's important. Perception, attitude, and how you see yourself is it's gonna really set the tone for your life. I think for me, it's like you either grow bitter or better. So there's only, I think I've seen two different sides of that for sure. But yeah, man, thank you again, Maxy, for coming on. I want to thank the folks out there for listening, tuning in. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, much love to you guys as well. Remember to reach out, reach forward. As always, much love. And stay on the line, Maxy. I'm just going to